guys, welcome back to the Koko channel and to another retail horror stories. We're gonna take a little break from dating horror stories because I have a doozy for you guys. It's a doozy. So it's been about a month now, I want to say. This is the first time I've ever had an experience like this at a restaurant. My husband and I took our son to breakfast because my mom, was it my mom or my grandma, got my husband for his birthday a Ihop gift card. Well, him and I had some errands to run, and instead of going to the one that we usually go to, we went to one we'd never been to before, and it wasn't in the best area of town. Let's just say that. But it was the one that we came up on our map quest, you know, and obviously we're brand new here. Even though my husband lived here for a while, he lives on a completely different side of town, and so this whole entire area is brand spanking new to us. We just find stuff that's on our maps. So it was pretty crowded in there. We went in and we were standing there for quite some time, and a line started behind us to get seated, and everyone was asking like, are you waiting to be seated? Are you waiting to be seated? Yes, yes, yes. So the manager comes up and just like doesn't even acknowledge us. Like, she just counts out the menus without asking like how many, or you know what I mean, like she had no idea who was with us or if we were expecting anybody else or anything, and just starts like walking. And so I was like, I don't know if we're supposed to follow her, or mind you, this is the manager because they're wearing like that blue t-shirt button up. And so we follow her, and she sits us like, there's like kind of a section in the back corner, and it was kind of empty except for one table. Well, she sat us right next to that one table, and it's a couple, and they have their phone sitting on the table blaring mariachi. I don't care if it's rap, country, you know what I mean, music that I even listen to. I feel like that's very inappropriate to do in a restaurant, like a public place where other people are, you know what I mean, sitting and eating or conversating. Like, it was really loud, and it was right next to us, and I was like, can we scoot over, you know? So we scooted over a table, and it was still like, I just can't wrap my head around that at all. I feel like that's the most rude thing. So anyways, it takes forever. Oh, not to mention the fact that where she sat us, like, obviously somebody had just left with kids, and there was food all over the floor, just like all over the table. It was sticky, and so obviously we're parents and we travel with the backpack, and it has, you know, the wet ones and whatever, and so we wiped off our table and everything, and she doesn't bring a high chair after we requested one, of course. And so our waitress finally comes over, and she's like, what can I get you to drink? And my husband ordered coffee, and I ordered a water, and we ordered 8 and a milk. And so I said, you know, can we get a high chair? And she's like, oh yeah. So she comes back with our drinks and was like, can I get you anything else? And I was like, how about that high chair? I obviously didn't say it like that. I was like, yeah, do you mind if we get that high chair now? You know, because my son is like hyper. And she was like, oh yeah. So she comes back with a high chair, and there's waffle in it. There's waffle pieces and syrup in the high chair, and I don't know if I've ever talked about this on my channel, but my husband is a germaphobe, like to the moon and back. Like, it's pretty serious. And so he about lost his damn mind, you know. He was like, that is disgusting. And I was like, well, let's just wipe it off, you know what I mean? Obviously they're busy. And I don't think I ever told you guys, when I was a teenager, I worked in a restaurant for a couple of years, and so I kind of understand. I mean, it's been a really long time, but I kind of understand that aspect of it, of like being really busy, and you know what I mean, stuff just piles up. And so anyways, we wipe off the high chair and everything, and so we order, and I ordered an omelet. I ordered an omelet, and I ordered one of the ones that you make yourself, because I have like a very strict, at this time it was even more strict than what it is now, of like what you can and can't have. Like, I can have any meat, and I could have pretty much any vegetable. You can only have certain fruits, and you can't have any cheese. And so I ordered an omelet with bacon and green bell peppers and onions, and I wanted avocado on it because avocado, you know, is like the good fat, and it's gonna fill you up, blah blah blah. And I ordered no hash browns. That was another thing. You can't have any potatoes, or any toast, so any breads of any kind. And so they have a substitution where you pay $1.49 extra for what is literally written in the menu of seasonally fresh fruit. And so, you know, everyone knows what seasonally means. Like, certain ones are better at certain times of the year. So that's what I order. My husband orders steak and scrambled eggs because he's gonna give the baby some, you know, Aiden likes eggs. And what was his side? Hash browns? I'm pretty sure. So we're sitting there and it took a freaking long time, you guys. I mean, for freaking ever. And she comes out with our food finally. And I want to say it was like 25, 30 minutes, which, you know what I mean? Again, I understand because I was busy. And so she comes out and my omelet is literally like this wide, like wrapped up, and it's just egg. Like, there's nothing in the egg. Like, you guys know what an omelet is, where you put the toppings in with the egg, and you know what I mean? Like, it's either folded, or I've seen it in restaurants where it's like tri-folded, like a burrito kind of. There was literally nothing in the egg. It looked like they took an ice cream scoop, and each topping that I said, they scooped it on top. So it was literally like thrown on top of the egg and was like splattered all over. You know how they have those huge oblong, not oblong, oval plates? Okay, so that, it was literally, the egg was like this thick, no joke, and the toppings were slapped on top. And I was like, what the fluff is that? Like, literally, I said that out loud and I didn't say fluff. Not in front of her. And so then she brings out my husband's steak, which my husband's a carnivore, you guys. Like, he's a meat eater. He eats everything rare. No joke. He, not medium rare, like rare. He likes the stuff to still make noise. You know what I mean? So it is burnt beyond a crisp. Like, you could just tell that you would not be able to chew it by looking at it. Not only that, have you guys ever, this happens to me. I will be the first to admit that I suck at making breakfast. I am pretty dang good at baking, and I do all right with certain meals, you know what I mean? But like dinner and lunch, but breakfast I suck at. I've never been a breakfast person. I don't know. I just have never been a breakfast person. My husband has always been the one to make us breakfast, and most of the time I don't even eat it because I'm just not a breakfast person. And I don't like eggs, which is probably weird to hear, even though I just ordered an omelet. Anyway, so his eggs, let me know if this guy has ever happened to you guys, where you cook scrambled eggs too long and it has like that browning on it, you know what I mean? And they crumble, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be fluffy, they're not going to be moist, they're not going to be, I know some people don't like that word, they're not going to be yummy. You can just tell, and that's exactly what they were. Like, he would pick them up and they would just fall right off, and they were like little pebbles. They were like itty bitty little pieces because they just cooked them way too long. So she says, can I get you anything else? And I said, I'm missing my fruit. Or no, this is what it was. I was like, yeah, we don't have any silverware. She was like, oh, okay. So she leaves and comes back. And while she was gone, I was like, I need salsa. I cannot eat eggs without salsa because I hate the taste of eggs so much. I have to bury it with as much flavor as possible, which is why I get so many toppings in my omelets. And I have to smother it in salsa. I freaking hate the taste of eggs. So she comes back and I ask her for a cup of salsa, and my husband asks for a steak knife, right? So she's gone for like a long time, like 5 minutes, which it shouldn't have been that long. It really shouldn't have. So she comes back empty-handed and she's like, we're out of salsa. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, we're out of salsa. And I was like, that's really weird. Okay. And I was like, okay. And then she just walks away. My husband still doesn't have a steak knife. And then it comes to my attention that I'm missing my fruit. So another girl walks by and she's like, is everything okay? Like, I'm sure you could just see the absolute disgust on my face. And I kept telling my husband, I'm not effing eating this. I'm not eating this. And I'm not paying for this. Like, I'm not eating this omelet. Like, it looks disgusting. And So, but at the same time, this diet that we're on, like, especially in phase 1, you're just so hungry all the time. You're never full just because of the things you eat in the first phase. Like, you're just always hungry. And so the girl that stopped by, she's like, you know, is everything okay? And I was like, my waitress said you guys are out of salsa. Like, what else do you guys have? And she's like, we have tapatio, we have, what else did she say? Tapatio and Tabasco and something else. And I was like, which Tabasco do you have? And she's like, the regular and the green. And I said, okay, I'll take the green. That has like more flavor. I'm not a fan of original Tabasco. And so my husband says, you know, I still need a steak knife. And she's like, oh, okay. And so she comes back. She comes back and she hands my husband the steak knife, holding it by the tip, and it was dripping water off of it. Like, she literally went back to the kitchen and like got it out of the soapy water and like rinsed it or whatever and like handed it to him like this. And he, like, the look he could have given her if looks could kill. Because again, my husband's a germaphobe, and so just the thought of this coming out of soapy water, you know what I mean, and not being like a fresh, like a washed dish, you know what I mean, like, he was absolutely mortified. And so he like took it from her and put it on the table, and he's like, I can't, I'm not doing this. And so I was like, okay, you know. And so I started eating my omelet because I was just so hungry. And that's when, you know what I mean, I kind of realized even more, like, my fruit is still missing. And so she comes over and is like, hi, how's everything going? I was like, I'm missing my fruit. And she's like, oh my gosh. So she comes back again with one of those huge oval plates, and on it is this much of canned fruit cocktail. That is my $1.49 upcharge for seasonally fresh fruit. It was soggy. It was full of juice. The juice was literally like sloshing on the plate. And I was like, okay. And so she comes back over, and I ate my omelet. And so I told her, I, you know, don't mean to be a bother. And I said, but my husband's steak is well done and he ordered it rare. The scrambled eggs haven't been touched because they're burnt. I said, and this is not seasonally fresh fruit, and I'm not paying you $1.50 for canned cocktail. Not to mention the fact it was like this much, and I wouldn't have eaten it anyway just because it looked so gross. And she was like, oh. And I was like, I need to talk to a manager. And she's like, okay. And so the manager comes over, and I repeat myself, like, you know, my husband ordered his steak rare, it's well done, the eggs are burnt, and I'm not paying for this. And then, not to mention the fact the avocado, which again is an extra $1, wasn't on my omelet, which I forgot to mention. But so I'm telling her this, and she literally, mind you, this is the woman who didn't greet us and sat us down. She literally just looks at me like this. So I tell her, I'm not paying for it. And she's like, okay, let me see what I can do. I can tell you what you can do is take that shit off my check. That's what you can do. But obviously I wouldn't say that. And so she comes back and still charges me for my omelet, which is fine because I ate it. You know what I mean? That's fair. So on there, not only did they charge me extra for the avocado, which was never there, they charged me extra for a cup of salsa that I never got. Never got it. So she like just drops the check off and walks away, and I see all this, and it's clear my waitress isn't coming back. So we go up to the front where you pay, and the girl's up there, and I said, look, I never got my avocado and I never got salsa. You guys are out of salsa. And she was like, oh, okay. And the manager was standing right there, and she just like walked over, switched it, and mind you, it was a gift card. So it was $10 still, even with taking off, supposedly taking off the avocado and the salsa. It was still $10 for just my omelet and Andrew's coffee that they charged us for. So she takes my receipt, both of them, and I like held my hand out for the receipt, and she just gave me the gift card balance. And she did that on purpose so I would not do a review. But we came home and we still did. Even though we didn't have a receipt number and we didn't have a server name, so nothing ever came of it. unfortunately. And it was the worst restaurant experience I've ever had. Like, I've had crappy waiters before. I've had crappy food before. I've been in a dirty restaurant before, but never, ever have I had all three at one time. It was the worst, you guys. Oh, man. But we have been to the IHOP by our house since then, and it's fine, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not dogging on IHOP as general, you know, because they are franchises, they're individually owned, which I didn't know until my husband told me that. So that is it for this retail horror story. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up if you did. If you are new, hello and welcome. My name is Brittany Koko. You are watching the Koko channel. Please subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye. What is that? Can I see? Yeah, that's gross. Thank you.